In this episode of Jesus People Sisterhood, we discuss faith and loss. Join us for part two of our conversation with Sandy Hancock as she shares what it's like to walk through the loss of her husband. This is a grounded, thoughtful conversation for single Christian women over 50 who know that loss doesn't come with easy answers and that faith can be both strong and tested at the same time. If you're navigating grief, change, or a season you didn't expect, you'll find wisdom, clarity, and quiet encouragement here. Welcome to the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast, a place where Christian single women aged 50 plus connect. I am your host, Janine Jordan, a Christian confidence coach and leadership mentor in Alberta, Canada.
And I'm your co-host, Ellie McCormick, a Christian longevity coach and mentor in the USA. Being single women over 50, we know what it's like to feel overlooked, to have unrealized dreams, to experience the challenges of singlehood, and to be concerned about what our future will look like. We couldn't find anything online for single Christian women over 50, so we created Jesus People Sisterhood just for you, a place where sisters encourage and empower one another through the last third of life, because you are a treasure trove of wisdom and of exceedingly great value. This is an authentic community, a supportive family, with other women on the same journey where Jesus is the center of it all. Here you will find real talk, real community, and real sisters.
Join us as we discuss building relationships, whole health, and growing spiritually. We'll review helpful books and articles, chat with guest speakers, share success stories, and have some laughs along the way. So grab your favorite beverage and we'll get started. Welcome, sisters, to this episode of the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast, the only podcast specifically for single Christian women over 50. Today, we give a shout out to our sisters in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Thank you for listening. It's a blessing to provide this podcast for free, but it does cost us to produce Jesus People Sisterhood episodes. It would be a great blessing to us that if you decide to buy a book mentioned in this podcast, you purchase it through the link in our episode show notes.
We want everyone to get to know our listeners, and so we'll be doing listener spotlight episodes from time to time. If you would like to share your testimony or what the Lord is doing in your life currently, or if you are leading in ministry or another field and would like to tell us about that, for Jesus Sister Excelling in the Last Third episode, please contact us at support@JesusPeopleSisterhood.com. We would love to have our listeners come and share with the sisterhood.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast. Today we're talking with Sandy Hancock, who will be sharing her story, A Widow's Story. If you have not listened to part one, please go back and listen to episode 80 first. Sandy Hancock is from San Antonio, Texas. She has 7 children from 2 marriages. The first ended in divorce with 1 child. The second, with 6 children, resulted in widowhood. God has been with her through everything since she was saved 50 years ago. He has answered her in ways she did not know she would need. And now we pick up the conversation where we left off last week.
I think recently I heard somewhere, maybe it was a podcast or something, where they were talking about when somebody has gone through something, whether it's the loss of a spouse or some traumatic event. And that commonly we'll say is like, call me if you need anything, right? It's like, no, if you sense there's something that you could do for that person, just do it. Because you're asking this person who's in mourning, who's grieving, or going through whatever they're going through, you've added something on them, a burden, to try and think about what could I ask this person for. And it's like, no, if you feel that, hey, I could bring them a meal, hey, I could take them out, hey, I could do their laundry, whatever it is you feel, as a Christian, obviously you could pray and ask the Lord, just do it.
Yeah.
If the person doesn't want you to do it, they can, they can say no. But a lot of times they are just in their world of what
Yeah,
they're
it's
trying to survive,
mhm.
and people just coming in and doing the stuff is a blessing. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would. I would agree with that because your mind just kind of goes blank. It's like, what do I need help with? You just kind
Hmm.
of, because I guess, especially if it's sudden, you don't know what's coming down the pipe. I mean, like for women that are suddenly alone, I mean, I could see how it'd be helpful if some guys just show up and mow your lawn for you, and stuff like that. Or if some men say, well, if you ever have like a leaky faucet, give me a buzz or something like that.
Hmm.
Because then it's like when you're by yourself, all of a sudden it's like, oh, sink is leaking or the disposal's not working, and there's these odds and ends. And if there's some people versus having to always decide which repairman you should call and looking up reviews on there's so many. So if there are some spouses that are handymen or some people in the church that would be really helpful to have a resource for some simple things.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Hmm.
paint the house is not simple, but yeah. And
Yeah.
the just bringing food over sometime. And yeah, I think that'd be great. Or just like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to bring this over. Are you going to be home? I mean, I usually was, but
Hmm.
so
I was just wondering, so you have your own grief going through the situation, and then you have the grief of your kiddos, and not to, specifically say anything. How did you navigate that?
we talked about it some, like with different ones. And what was interesting is everybody was home for a bit because oddly, in January 2019, I broke my ankle really bad. And so I couldn't walk or drive. It was my right foot. And so for 3 months, I'm in a walker or wheelchair or something, and they had to help me in and out. So everybody was home. They were helping me and they were cooking and cleaning, and all the kids were doing that. And then he seemed okay type of things. That was before he started stepping down. And so these people started moving out. And so then there were less of them. So, but they were all, we did it a little differently. He passed at home. And so when we realized he was passing, called everyone, they all came home and he stayed in the room. My friend had said, well, don't call them. Don't call the funeral home to pick him up until you're ready. I'm like, okay. So what we did is I let each person go in there by themselves and be with them and spend time with them in the room. And others that wanted the pastor to come over. So there were people at the house and they each went in. So they each had their time to like see him, and because he was going to be cremated. We didn't have the funeral casket type thing. We did have a memorial type situation, celebration of life. But so they each had their time, which I think helps a lot. And I learned that from our mutual friend, Ellie. She's like, take as much time as you need because she's like, I wish I had more time. And I think that really helped because then it's like you're coming to reality with that. And if there's anything you want to say, you do. I mean, you do. You do talk to them. So I think it helped each person go through things. I mean, to go through it, the realization and and it wasn't as shocking. And it was a time to get peace with what happened. And
Mm.
then they left and after he left and we hung out and we talked some. And so I think individually we've talked here and there through time and how they felt and how they were doing. And I think they've done okay. And by then, my youngest two were at home. The three were at home. So they did okay. And also, that first year, I just felt impressed to make sure we did all the holidays together as a family. They were all still close. So whether it was Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, all the Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, all of those the first year. And I do recommend that to people that they try and do all the holidays together because what I sensed on my own is that if we didn't, the family might break up, kind of like out of avoidance, as they need to get used to being together without him. And
Hmm.
when you have more of you there, it's easier to go through. So you're supporting one another through that, and you still enjoy the holiday, even though you know they're not there. It's like you still are going through the holiday and you're going through it together. So I think that really helped a lot with supporting each other. Now, an interesting thing that happened when he passed, the so there was a weekend, and the following weekend was my daughter's bridal shower.
Wow.
And yeah, so I told her, it's like, okay, you have to go to church Sunday. this first Sunday. This is like several days after. It's like, because I don't want the first time you see everyone from church to be at the bridal shower. You need to see them at church
Mm.
first. So everybody went to church together. I think they left pretty quick after, but because I felt that was very important for her. I mean, I can't, you go to time that's supposed to be enjoyable and you're spending all your time with people saying, I'm sorry. And I didn't want that to take away from her bridal shower. I don't know if she thought that was mean or not. She didn't say, but I gave my reasoning so that she would understand.
Mm.
And there was a couple of family members from Austin that were there, and and they were giving their condolences also, which is fine. I had no problem with that. But I'm just thinking that I'm so glad that I pushed that because it would have put a damper on
On
the
the
bridal
shower.
shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So what do you
So
think your life calling is?
that was an interesting question. I'm like, what? I don't, well, I've always had a heart for worship and praising and worship. And a couple of years ago, someone gifted me some flags, which
Mm.
I don't flag in the normal way. I basically dance with flags. So I worship with flags, which I've done here and there. So I enjoy that. I don't know if that's I guess I'll have to pray about that because that sounds like a flag ministry, like I need to. So I'm not sure that I need to lead one or not. I know that I've noticed that through the church we were going to, in terms of helping people and organizing and helping with the couple weddings and another, maybe I should try some small event planning. So I don't really have a specific focus right now. I mean, I've helped with the homeless ministry. Well, something that has also come up being a widow is kind of with these issues. I can mow my grass and I can learn how to do. There's a lot of people that can't, whether they're widows or divorced or just older. It's like there should be a ministry that either through churches or something like that to be able to go out and help people that can't do it and that need a little help every now and then just to go and help them and do it for them. Or if I broke my ankle, if they're at home alone and they broke their ankle and they can't do that. So that's things like that. And then I recently, with the church with the film festival, and I've been involved with that. And I went 2 years ago, and have a friend that I gotten saved with back in Florida that was the bodyguard for Evil Knievel. And he also did the motorcycle jumping with him and started a ministry. And so they want to do a movie. Also, they have a script, they have a book, an audio book, and a script. And I was like, well, for some reason, I see these quantum threads coming together. And I'm like,
Mm.
someone I know very well started a Christian film festival. And then here's a Christian that's went, and I'm like, is God connecting something? So I've seen a variety of things like that. So I don't know. Who knows? We're going to go to I've connected up with his wife and we've been talking. The one that he had recently passed like 6 months ago. And we're going to go to the film festival. And her son also does film and they've done a documentary and won like 29 awards. I know this is about them, kind of that part, but I'm like, for some reason, there's these connections here and I'm just going to see where God takes it. I
Yeah.
love I love
Mm.
film. I think that's exciting. I think it's intriguing. I mean, I love when my daughters did ballet, they did ballet and they were extras, free extras in the Nutcracker at the Ballet San Antonio. Well, that was so much fun. I loved being in the audience. I loved being in the wings and loved doing quick changes because they changed their costumes in between performances and helping the seamster mending costumes. So I realized I love all the aspects of that, and that's theater is without a camera, acting without a camera, right? So, so I don't really have a specific thing. I do have a heart for helping people. I can at least say it helps. So whether I'm helping with the homeless people, that ministry and praying for them and helping at church, or they had a week long person come and speak at church, and so I was a greeter morning and night for that week and because they needed some people and I'm always like, okay, have them right there. So I tend to go in and help where there's a need. Yes, I am searching for my actual, if there is like one thing. I don't know if there is one thing, but
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's wonderful that you're open to all those possibilities and that things have come across your desk, so to speak, and that you're excited about the future and all the things and goals and plans. So you don't have any direct goals. I mean, does that really matter? Obviously, the Lord has plans, and so you don't have to worry. But that was a wonderful share there. So,
Is there
So
anything you'd want to share specifically with single Christian women over 50?
there is something that I would like to, yes, and it's probably can go for younger, but definitely older because it was basically now it's 60. So for a while I wondered, and I didn't know if it's because I was at home for, a while and kids, but I felt like I lost some of my joy. And I was kind of like, so what is going on? Is it because I was a busy stay-at-home mom and doing schooling and a variety of things? It's like, is it because there's something that may not have been quite the way I liked in my marriage or what? So I took a trip to visit my son when he lived in Utah. So I took a bunch of CDs. You know this, okay, interjection. Our family used to go sing at assisted living homes, and
oh,
all of us, so play the guitar, play the piano, and sing. It started from another mutual friend, and so we did that for a couple of years, I think. And so we sang a lot of hymns because assisted living homes, a lot of them are older and are really familiar with hymns. And we also sang some popular Christian songs, Chris Tomlin, Matt Redman songs. So I grabbed a handful of CDs and put them in my car, but because I had a CD player, it's like, okay, well, glad I did because Arizona and New Mexico has like no internet, but I was playing CDs anyway. They have no internet. It's enough for your GPS, and that's it.
okay. Okay.
That's a warning.
Okay.
So I'm plugging CDs in and singing and whatever, and I put Matt Redman in, and on there is Heart of Worship. And I just start bawling. I mean, ugly cry. Fortunately, there's no one on the road and during those through those states. But I'm like, Lord, what the heck is going on? I mean, it's ugly cry. And he's like, keep playing it over. Okay, God. And so it goes through my mind. It's just like the stresses of like, dealing with him being sick and taking care of him and all that transition. And it wasn't like a mourning I didn't do, but it was like a stress release in terms of
Mm.
there's a lot of responsibility. I tend to be strong, carry on until there's the time to break down, apparently. So that's more how I do it. I don't break down. I do. And then later it's like, decompress. So there was a lot of thoughts of that was going on in terms of my going through my mind. And it's like, okay. And then I'm in Utah, and my son and his wife decide to go take a little trip to Las Vegas and said, I'm going to go see a play. And I found a play and I went to see the play. And I think it was Big Fish. It was Big Fish. And so I'm watching it. And then, like, the first scene, I'm there by myself. I've gotten used to going places by myself. The first scene is where father gets diagnosed with cancer, and then silent tears. I'm like, oh, and logically, I'm thinking, I know I'm not the only one. There's many other people in this crowd, I'm sure, that are experiencing the same thing. And then another scene later, they find out before the son, in this case, gets married, that the wife bride is pregnant. And I had a similar situation first, but similar situation. I'm like, oh, there's it's identifying with things. I'm like, why is this happening? And then by the end of the play, father passes before the child is born. And that is what happened also. So it's so he's not, my husband hasn't seen any of his grandchildren. So, and it's like these silent tears. I'm like, okay, God. And so I didn't realize that was something that concerned me or bothered me, but I did go through that kind of on my own in the sense because he wasn't able to be emotional support or wasn't here when the child was born and actually wasn't here. They had a private wedding in his room because he wouldn't be there for the wedding
Hmm.
of my child. So it was kind of like, wow. And I got home and I'm like, so I thought I wanted to go to a play, but actually God wanted me to go to a play. And I've said many times since then, man makes his plans and God directs his steps.
Yeah.
And I've seen that over and over and over. And it's just like, well, I guess I needed some release for that. Well, and on the way home, it happens again. put that in and a couple other songs too, and just crying and like, okay, Lord, what's going on? And then because I'm like, why am I crying? It's more how I'm phrasing it, not like this nice little, what is going on? It's more like, why am I crying like this? And it thoughts came to mind about like the disappointments in both the marriages and disappointments in like things that happen with the kids and things I didn't do. So it's just kind of like all these disappointments and hurts were like just flooding out. So I was like, well, I expected it to be the same, but it was something different. So it's like God was cleansing,
Mm,
cleansing me. And I remembered that there's stresses and emotions that your body cannot release without coming out with tears.
wow.
So it's like I needed some emotional release. And I found out when I was there, and even after I got home, that I was happier. And there was like, it's like more of the old me was coming back, and then more smiling more and laughing more. And I was like, oh, I realized that every time I hit a hurt and didn't deal with it, I was hiding a piece of myself. And I was like, oh, wow. So I realized, so I called it resurrection, the spirit of resurrection. So at first I thought
Mhm.
like a new, new birth. And it's like, no, it's like a resurrection because it's like parts of me coming back to life that God was healing, letting God heal. And so I usually tell people, don't wait till you're 60 to do this, or 62, do it sooner. So if you're wondering why you don't have as much joy as you have, he loves you. He's not going to hurt you, with those hurts. He knows it's there and just to let it out and just to let it out.
Mm.
Right, right. We have
So,
a Christian therapist that we've had interviewed several times on the podcast. And one of the things she did talk about was that very thing of where you can't have trauma or these issues in your life and think, I'm just putting them on the shelf
Right.
and that you're going to be able to keep going in life because it's going to
right,
come out sometime. It's
right.
like you need to deal with it at some point.
Right.
Well, yes, it'll come out one way or the other. I mean, like if you wonder why your temper is a little shorter or why you're not so happy, that could be why. It could be why.
Hmm.
That because people, and I don't know if it's that they don't want to deal with it again, because yeah, I guess you feel it again and you may hurt a little bit. I don't know that it hurts as much, but knowing that we have God to go to and that He is right there to handle it gently. I mean, He's not ripping it out. He's not going to chastise us for not doing it sooner. He's like, I've been waiting for you to come
Mm,
to me. I just want to sit here with you with it. So
Hmm.
there's
Yeah.
nothing to be afraid of.
No.
yeah.
It's actually so much more joy on the other side and so much more peace that you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, though, people too, whether they've gone through a divorce or their spouse passed away, whatever they're going
Mhm.
through, I think sometimes it's just like, I've got to get through this. I don't have time
Hmm.
to just sit and think about the stuff and cry and process it. I've got all this stuff to do. So I think
Right.
sometimes it's not necessarily person is avoiding it as much as that they feel like they don't have the space to process it.
Mm.
But the point is that you should make the space. You got at some
Right.
point. You
The
have to
term
make the space.
that term self-care. It
Yeah.
sounds kind of like, oh, self-care, but
Hmm.
we've been told it's like selfish. And as women, wives and mothers, we know how much we put ourselves aside to take care of the kids and take care of others.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Hmm.
another thing I would say is start doing things you like to do because I know there's a lot of things I stopped doing because I was too busy. If you
Yeah.
like a movie or a play or something like that, there's a park near where church I went to. So like for a year off and on I was going, it just ran out of water, it dried up, it's Texas. But but there's a cute little pond and it's quiet and it's got a willow tree and had ducks and turtles and stuff like that. And it's like it was nice just to go and have some time just to sit there and
Yeah.
just to sit there and enjoy it and think a little maybe, but it was just nice to go and do that in
Right.
between. And I don't have to be looked at like I'm sitting at the park alone because there's almost nobody went there. So there's
Yeah.
it's very out of the way. But
Mm.
nice quiet spot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, people, in just terms of people, I think they too should take that and start to take time for themselves. I mean, however they want to word it, some people like the word self-care. I think it's just, if you wonder where those pieces of you have gone, it's like it may be time to spend some time with God and He'll show you. He won't ask you to dump everything out at one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you feel great. You feel much better when you
Mm-hmm.
start. I'm not done. I'm sure I'm not done. I'm sure there's more things that I need to another layer. You know, they always say it as onion layers, but there's probably more things. I'm not perfect. I'll make mistakes again, but it's definitely worth it. And I just encourage people to take a little bit of time. And you know what? If you don't take the time, it'll find you. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that happens,
Yeah.
especially if there's a sudden, like, if there's a sudden, when someone passes or if they leave you, it's like there's those songs that come up when you're in the middle of the grocery store or you go somewhere, things that remind you of the past together or remind you of something. And it's opportunistic.
Mm. Yeah. We want to thank you so much, Sandy, for sharing with us, for your courage, for your bravery, for just your honest, just the way that you've shared yourself with us today and our listeners. And we thank you for your insight and your kind ways and all the things that you relayed. Thank you so much for being on podcast today. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we end today's session?
No, I think I went over it basically. I mean, I just looked in terms of talking about doing things by yourself and that you're alone and not lonely. You do get to that point and just encourage people that it will get better and they will feel more comfortable with that and to just call people to go do something with. Don't stay by yourself. You
Right.
need time alone, but don't stay by yourself.
Right.
Amen.
God made us to need one another.
Yep.
So,
Well, thank you so
Amen.
much, Sandy.
well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please share any thoughts that resonated with you from today's podcast episode in our private Facebook group at Jesus People Sisterhood Community. Start reaching out to other single women and create your local group of Jesus People Sisters. Please let us know about your group to add to our directory by contacting us at support@JesusPeopleSisterhood.com.
Have you had a good experience with a business? They've treated you honestly and helped you at a reasonable price? Please let us know. We would like to start a directory of JPS-friendly businesses. Let's care for one another.
Be blessed by Him who is able to protect you from stumbling and to make you stand in the presence of His glory, blameless and with great joy. Until next time.
Hey, sister, before you go, thank you for listening. If you found value in today's podcast, the best way to say thank you is by leaving a 5-star written review at Apple Podcasts. That raises us in the rankings and helps other sisters find us too. And please tell a friend or post it on your social media. If you're a single Christian woman over 50, this podcast was created specifically for you. The Jesus People Sisterhood is your community to find support and friendship with other sisters who can understand. Be sure to follow us on your podcast app and join our free private Facebook group at Jesus People Sisterhood Community.
Jesus People Sisterhood has also started a private Facebook group for housing and co-living opportunities. You can check that out at Jesus People Sisterhood Senior Housing. You can also find us on Facebook at Jesus People Sisterhood and individually for Janine at riseupcoachingandconsulting.com and for Ellie at samaramountain.com. And ladies, this is the necessary disclaimer. Our podcast content is for informational purposes and does not constitute professional advice from mental health, medical, legal, financial, or other areas. The opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host. It is our heart that this podcast will be a blessing to you. Together, let's build a powerful sisterhood with Jesus. Make a friend, add a sister, across the border and around the world.